Hello and welcome to another Benchmarks episode. In today's video, we'll explore what the first generation ThinkPad X1 Yoga is capable of in 2024. The ThinkPad X1 Yoga was born from the combination of two iconic laptop series, X1, the premium line of ThinkPads, and Yoga, known for its 360-degree hinges, allowing versatile usage modes for maximum flexibility. The laptop we're discussing, the first generation ThinkPad X1 Yoga, was unveiled in early January 2016 at CES in Las Vegas. It shares a strong connection with the fourth generation ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Notably, it was the first ThinkPad to feature an OLED display. The X1 Yoga is built using a combination of materials, carbon fiber for the top cover and magnesium alloy for the palm rest and bottom cover. According to Lenovo, the laptop has undergone vibration, drop, and screen stress tests, earning the MIL STD 810G military certification. The chassis features a matte black finish that is smooth to the touch and resistant to fingerprints. Its rigidity is excellent, flexing only under significant pressure. The X1 Yoga weighs just 1.36 kilograms. For comparison, the T480 weighs 1.8 kilograms. Making it an exceptionally lightweight laptop. Additionally, the device is remarkably slim compared to other ThinkPads, with a thickness of just under 1.7 centimeters. Despite its slim design, the laptop manages to include a generous array of ports. On the left-hand side, you'll find a rectangular power input, a One-Link Plus dock connector, a mini display port, and a USB 3 port with always-on functionality. On the right side, there's a slot for the stylus, the power button, volume control buttons, a combo audio jack, two USB 3 ports, an HDMI output, and a Kensington lock slot. At the back, the device includes a SIM card slot and a microSD card reader. The front of the laptop is free of ports or buttons. The battery is non-removable and occupies a significant portion of the internal space. The X1 Yoga was sold with two battery options. Models with an IPS display feature a 52 watt-hours battery, while OLED-equipped models come with a slightly larger 56 watt-hours battery. Both battery variants are equipped with 4 cells. Since we've touched on the topic of displays, let's discuss them in detail. The first generation ThinkPad X1 Yoga offers 3 display options, all measuring 14 inches. These include IPS and OLED panels. The IPS displays are available in either Full HD or 1440p resolutions, with a maximum brightness of 270 nits. Meanwhile, the OLED screens feature a resolution of 2560 by 1440 pixels and a brightness of 300 nits. All X1 Yoga displays are touch-enabled and support multi-touch gestures with up to 10 fingers. Above the screen, you'll find a 720p webcam, accompanied by stereo microphones. The keyboard is identical in design to the one used in the X1 Carbon series, highly comfortable and enjoyable to use. However, the X1 Yoga's keyboard stands out due to its unique lift and lock feature. This mechanism allows the keys to retract into the chassis, creating a flat surface when the device is in tablet mode. When the screen is tilted beyond 190 degrees, both the keyboard and touchpad are automatically disabled, enhancing usability in tablet mode. The touchpad measures approximately 10 by 6 centimeters and is highly precise. It supports multi-touch gestures seamlessly in both Windows 10 and Windows 11. As is tradition with ThinkPads, the X1 Yoga also features a track point. Let's move on to the specifications. The first generation ThinkPad X1 Yoga was sold with 6th generation Intel Core i5 and i7 processors, which you can see on the screen now. All models feature 2 cores, 4 threads, and a TDP of 15 watts. The processor is soldered to the motherboard, making it difficult to replace. The RAM is also soldered, so when choosing a model for yourself, it's important to pay attention to the amount of RAM the laptop comes with. The X1 Yoga was available in configurations with 4, 8, or 16 gigabytes of DDR3 memory running at 1866 MHz. This series of laptops is equipped solely with the integrated Intel HD Graphics 520, supporting a maximum of 3 external displays. All ThinkPad X1 Yoga models are equipped with 80mm M.2 SSDs, supporting both SATA and PCIe NVMe drives. It's important to note that only single-sided M.2 drives are compatible with this model. Additionally, the laptop features a built-in TPM 2.0 module for enhanced security. Now that we've covered the overall design and specifications, let's take a closer look at the model we're testing today. The tested first-generation ThinkPad X1 Yoga is equipped with an Intel Core i5 6300U processor. This is a dual-core, 4-thread CPU with a base clock of 2.4 GHz and a turbo boost of 3 GHz. It has a TDP of 15 watts and 3 megabytes of cache. The graphics card is the integrated Intel HD Graphics 520 with 1 GB of VRAM. The laptop is equipped with 8 GB of RAM, running at 1866 MHz. The SSD capacity is 128 GB. Now that we have the specifications covered, let's move on to the benchmarks. Let's start with Cinebench. In the multi-core test of Cinebench R15, the laptop scored 268 points. In Cinebench R20, the result was 621 points, and in Cinebench R23, it achieved 1713 points. Here's how the X1 Yoga's performance compares to the T480 and X230. We also tested the integrated HD 520 graphics in the Cinebench R15 OpenGL benchmark. The result was just under 44 FPS. Here's how this performance compares to other tested graphics cards. The next benchmark is the performance test built into 7-zip. With a dictionary size of 64 megabytes, the processor achieved a score of 12 GIPS. For comparison, the 8th generation i5 in the ThinkPad T480 scored 19 GIPS in the same test. In the Unigen Heaven 4 benchmark, on basic settings at 720p, the X1 Yoga achieved a score of 579 points, with an average frame rate of 23 FPS. Running Basemark Web 3.0 in the Firefox browser, the X1 Yoga scored 475 points. For comparison, the T480 achieved 596 points, while the X230 scored just 322 points in the same test. The 3D Mark Time Spy benchmark showed a score of 398 points on the X1 Yoga. Here's how this result compares to other tested laptops. The benchmark's results are not too bad, but let's now move on to gaming tests and see what games you can play on this nearly 9-year-old laptop. First up, 112 Operator, a game that doesn't seem too demanding. At a resolution of 1280 by 720 and the lowest settings, it runs at an average of 29 FPS, making it perfectly playable. The next game is Among Us. At 1080p, without any surprises, it runs smoothly at a stable 60 FPS, with a 1% low of 52 FPS. Besiege runs very well on the X1 Yoga at 1080p with low settings. The average frame rate is 53 FPS, although there are occasional drops to around 30 FPS. Business Tour runs smoothly at native resolution, averaging 81 frames per second. However, the game occasionally stutters for a brief moment. Since it's not a fast-paced game, this doesn't significantly impact gameplay. By the way, in my opinion, playing this game on a touchscreen is a better experience than playing with a mouse. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 from 2011 averages 56 FPS at a resolution of 1600 by 900 with high settings. However, the game is not really playable due to frequent frame drops, regardless of graphics settings, with the 1% low dipping to just 9 FPS. Cities Skylines is playable if you're persistent enough. On the lowest settings at 720p, it averages 27 FPS. However, frequent frame drops and stuttering are common, and if you zoom out the camera, the FPS drops below 20, making it less than ideal for smooth gameplay. Content Warning is barely playable, averaging 25 FPS with a 1% low of just 4 FPS, even on low settings at 720p. Counter-Strike 2 turned out to be unplayable. Even on the absolute lowest settings at 1024 by 768 resolution, the game crashes as soon as it loads into the match. Counter-Strike Source runs quite well at 1080p with high settings, averaging 93 FPS. The lowest recorded frame rate is 55 FPS, with a 1% low of 38 FPS. Duck Game runs smoothly at 1080p, maintaining a steady 60 FPS without any surprises. Dungeon of the Endless also runs smoothly at 1080p, consistently above 90 FPS, never dropping below 70 FPS. The Escapists 2 runs at around 30 FPS in 1080p with blur turned off, occasionally reaching over 40 FPS. Fallout Shelter poses no challenge for the X1 Yoga, maintaining a steady 60 FPS at 1080p. Grand Theft Auto 5 on normal settings with shadows turned off at 720p is unplayable. The average frame rate is 25 FPS, but there are frequent drops below 10 FPS, making the experience very choppy. The Forest at 720p with ultra-low settings runs around 30 FPS, with a 1% low of 16 FPS. Fortnite is unplayable on the X1 Yoga, as even on the lowest graphic settings, it averages just 8 FPS. Kingdom 2 Crowns runs at a pleasant frame rate, ranging from 34 to 51 FPS, with an average of 45 FPS. Lethal Company doesn't offer graphic settings adjustments. At the native screen resolution, the game is unplayable, averaging just 10 FPS. Minecraft Java Edition 1.21 at native resolution, with fast graphics and a render distance of 8 chunks, runs at around 40 FPS. Of course, performance can be improved by installing mods, such as Sodium. Phasmophobia at 720p with the lowest settings runs at an average of around 40 FPS. Pixel Gun 3D runs at 720p, with frame rates ranging from 18 to 37 FPS, averaging around 28 FPS. Plague Inc. at 1080p, with dynamic and particle effects enabled but anti-aliasing turned off, averages 49 FPS with a minimum of 33 FPS. Rebel Inc. runs at 1080p with low settings, averaging 26 FPS. Subnautica at 720p with a mix of low and medium settings runs around 30 FPS, never dropping below 20. The Survivalists at 1080p shows frame rates ranging from 34 to 45 FPS, with an average of 39 FPS. Workers and Resources Soviet Republic at 720p with the low settings preset runs between 16 and 51 FPS, averaging 37 FPS. World of Tanks on minimum settings at 1080p runs smoothly, averaging 42 FPS and never dropping below 26 FPS. The last game is Worms WMD, which on normal settings at 1080p runs between 34 and 59 FPS, with an average of 48 FPS. As you can see, even though the first generation X1 Yoga was released nearly 9 years ago, it's still a great laptop for everyday tasks. Watching YouTube or Netflix is a very pleasant experience, with 4K videos playing smoothly without any issues. It's also excellent for taking notes, both on the keyboard and with a stylus in OneNote. Browsing the internet is comfortable as well, whether in laptop mode or tablet mode. You can also play less demanding games or perform basic photo editing in Photoshop. My unit, in near-perfect condition, cost me just under $100, which was a fantastic deal. At this price, I highly recommend this laptop to anyone looking for a reliable device for everyday use, school, or work. That's all for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss future laptop reviews, make sure to subscribe. See you in the next episode.